People say to me all the time, oh, I don't have room to keep chickens. Chickens should really be in the country. And I'm like, no, you can keep chickens in the city and in the suburbs. And it's so important. And I'm going to tell you how to do it and why you should do it. This is Binky, broody Binky. Look at her. Oh no. Oh baby, I will put you down. Yes, you're a good girl. You're gonna be a good mama someday. Hello friends, welcome to Chickenlandia. My name is Dahlia. I'm a backyard chicken educator, also known as the president of Chickenlandia. Raising chickens has been the best way for me to find peace and joy in my life, and I want to help you find that too. So I'm going to start this video with a very bold statement, okay? Every single person that decides to keep chickens in the city and in the suburbs especially is doing something extremely important, not just for themselves as an individual, not just for their families, but for the whole world, for all of humankind. And I know some of you are like, oh, come on, it's just chickens. But I am telling you it is true. And I'm gonna tell you why I think that. But first, I want to talk to you about some issues that can come up when you are keeping chickens in the city and when you're keeping them in the suburbs or just a smaller space in general, and how you can solve those problems, okay? Really, the ideal place for any chicken to grow up and live their life is on pasture. That really is the perfect scenario. That's where they are the healthiest. That's where they lay the healthiest eggs. And I just think in general, they're going to be more resilient and have a better life. Now, having said that, that does not mean that I am saying that chickens should not be raised in the city, in the suburbs, in smaller enclosures, like in an enclosed run. I absolutely think that that is perfectly fine. And I'll tell you my reasoning. The optimal place for a human to grow up and to live their life is like out in the country or in one of those countries where they, everybody lives to be over 100 years old. Like there definitely are optimal scenarios for humans to live their life, but we don't all have access to those scenarios. We are all doing the best that we can. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't exist. Just because I don't live in Costa Rica doesn't mean that I shouldn't live anywhere, okay? There are best case scenarios, and then there are other scenarios that are like, we make the best of it, and that's okay. I think there is absolutely nothing wrong, and in fact, I think it's great when people want to raise chickens in their backyard when they live in the city and they live in the suburbs. But with that knowledge that there are benefits to chickens living in their optimal environment, which would be on pasture. Okay, with that knowledge, we can move forward and try and do some things when we're keeping chickens in an enclosed run that will mimic that experience of them being out on pasture. Okay, so we can kind of mitigate some of the problems that we might come in contact with when we're raising chickens on a smaller space. Walter, you're being too loud. Quiet, Walter. We know that chickens raised on pasture lay healthier eggs. Obviously, if we're living in the city, if we're living in the suburbs, we want healthy eggs too. So chickens on pasture, they have access to fresh greens. They have access to all the the beneficial microorganisms that are in the soil. But that doesn't mean that chickens living in the city are doomed, okay? There are so many things that you can do. And one of them that is just so easy is that you can give your chickens kitchen scraps, fresh vegetation from your kitchen that would normally get wasted. And I want you to focus on vegetables, okay, especially green leafy vegetables, low sugar fruits, just vegetation that is healthy for you. It is going to be healthy for your chickens, okay? Oh, Zorro, get... What was that? I don't see, there's not even an eagle over us. You don't need to do that. Okay, I don't know what's going on with Zorro. He's making the weirdest noises. Usually they make those noises when there's like an eagle in the sky, but there's nothing in the sky. So I don't know why he's doing that. Maybe he knows something I don't. Maybe there is something in the sky. Okay, so the other thing that you can do to get some fresh greens into your chickens is to offer them sprouts and fodder. And sprouts and fodder are the same thing. They're just at different stages of growth. Sprouts are so easy to grow. I will grow them in a jar because it is very easy. I'll get some barley, I'll get some wheat, I'll get, like a seed mix or something. The other thing that is super easy that I love is there's this product. It is from a company called Small Pet Select. Full disclosure, I have been working with this company for a while. I love them. And they sent me a long time ago these little pouches. They're called Pet Greens. And you put water in the pouch. It's really easy. But the sprouts, they grow from this pouch. And so you can bring the little pouch out to your chickens. You can feed them the sprouts right out of the pouch, or you can clip the top off and it just keeps growing. So I would totally, especially if you have a smaller flock, those little pouches, it's just so easy to grow greens for your chickens. The other thing is growing them out of a jar. I do have a video where I show you how to grow sprouts out of a jar. It's so easy. I'm telling you, I always say this, but if I can do it, it's easy, okay? And I will leave that video in the description for you so you can learn how to do it for your chickens. Okay, so I also grow fodder for my chickens right in their run. And you can see it behind me. There's a little raised bed. This is covered with hardware mesh, and the greenery actually grows up through the mesh. And the chickens in the morning, they love to come out here and eat whatever is growing up through the mesh. That is another way that you can grow greens, fresh greens, right in your chicken yard, even if you have a really small chicken yard. And it's like having, a little bit of pasture, a little piece of pasture in your chicken yard. And the chickens love it. It gives them something to do, and it's so good for them. You don't have to use a raised bed like mine. You could just use a big pot. And, if it's wooden, you can staple hardware mesh to the top of it. And there you go, and then you're growing the seeds, and the chickens can't get to the seeds. They can't eat the seeds. They can't destroy the plants before they get a chance to grow. When your chickens live in a smaller space, one of the things that you're really going to have to keep an eye out for is that they are not getting stressed from lack of space. You do not want to overcrowd chickens. If you have your chickens in an enclosed run, they really should have 10 square feet of space per standard size chicken within that run. And then in the coop, you're going to want to have 2 to 4 square feet of space within the coop per standard size chicken. And only go on the lower end of that, 2 square feet, if they have a lot of covered space in their covered run. Like if it snows or if it's really rainy or whatever, you don't want them to only have 2 square feet of space per chicken to get out of the elements. You want them to have more space than that, okay? When chickens are overcrowded, when they get bored, they get stressed. And when chickens are stressed, they are way more vulnerable to parasite infestation and illness, okay? And when they get sick, they're more susceptible to parasite infestation. So it's like this big cycle. So you want to make sure that you have your best practices in place. You want to keep their coop clean. It doesn't have to be sterile. And make sure that they have things to do in their chicken yard so that they're not getting bored and getting into trouble. Because that's when chickens get into trouble, is when they get bored, okay? I have all kinds of enrichment in my chicken yard. I've got dust baths. They have a little hanging cabbage holder that they like to peck at. And then they have their salad bars that they go to. So they have enough space and they have enough things to do within that space. And that is very important when you're raising your chickens in the city and in the suburbs or anywhere where they're going to be in an enclosed, smaller space. I will tell anyone that's keeping chickens, but especially people that are living in the city and the suburbs, I will tell them that you are not just keeping chickens, you're changing the world. And I really mean that. Okay? Because there are a lot of places where chicken keeping is illegal. You can't keep chickens in a lot of places in the United States. And in a lot of those places, they don't even have access to grocery stores with fresh food. But they can't grow their own food because that's against the law. Okay, so what we need to do is normalize keeping chickens, normalize the sound of chickens everywhere, in the city, in the suburbs, everywhere. And when we do that, we're just a little step closer to a better future, not only for ourselves, but for our communities, for our children, and for the world. You got your chickens, you're in the city, you're in the suburbs, and you're like, oh, I don't have to worry about predators. There's no predators here. Well, they are there, and they totally want to eat your chickens. But all you have to do is watch this video that I have left on the screen for you. It's going to teach you how to predator proof and keep your chickens safe from predators. without having to harm wildlife, okay? Because that's important to me. So go ahead and check that out, and remember, it's 100% friendly. Backyard Chickens, education and entertainment, and I know you're gonna love it.